Welcome back to this full Kotlin programming course for aspiring Android developers. If you are new to this channel, make sure you watch our previous video on the introduction to Kotlin to get a hang of the course structure. In this particular video lesson, I will help you to create your first program in the Kotlin language. To do that, we will use a special program called IntelliJ, which is a development environment that greatly facilitates writing applications in Kotlin. However, this environment is quite heavy, and in reality, to write or rather create applications, we only need two components: a text editor for typing program code and a compiler for compiling code into the application. You can use any text editor you like. For example, in my case, I will use Visual Studio Code. So you can download the compiler directly for the Kotlin language itself from GitHub using this link. I will add it in the description. At the very bottom of the page, under the heading Assets, you will find the general version of the compiler, versions of the Kotlin native compiler for different operating systems, as well as the source code. But in this particular case, we are interested in the general version of the compiler, which is named after the template Kotlin compiler x.x.x.zip, where x.x.x represents the version number. In my case, this is a file Kotlin compiler 2.0.0.zip, which is the latest version of Kotlin, which was released last week as of May 2024. So now we're going to download this zip folder. It will take a little bit of some time depending on how fast your internet connection is, but you just have to be patient and wait for it to completely download. After downloading this folder, we will unzip the Kotlin folder from the archive. In the unpacked archive in the bin folder, as you can see, we can find the Kotlin utility, that is the Kotlin compiler. It also hosts a Kotlin application that executes compiled code. It is worth noting that on Linux, for example on Ubuntu, Kotlin can be installed through the Snap Package Manager using this command. I will leave it in the description just in case you need it. Now let's begin to write our first program that will print hello world to the screen. So to do this, we will define a directory for our source code files on our hard disk. For example, in my case, the directory will be located at the path C Kotlin. So I will create a folder named Kotlin, and in this folder, I will create a new file, which I will call app.kt. The KT extension is a file extension in the Kotlin language. Next, I will define a code in this file that will output a message to the console. To do this, I will open this app.kt folder, or rather this Kotlin folder in Visual Studio Code, and then open up the app.kt file to write our program. So let's begin to write our Kotlin code. The entry point to a Kotlin program is the main function. So to define a function, we use the keyword fun, followed by the function name, that is main. So this function does not accept any parameters, so empty parentheses are specified after the function name. The actual actions performed by the main function are defined in curly brackets, so we'll write curly brackets. In this case, another function is executed inside the main function, which is the println function, short for print the line. So this outputs a message inside the brackets to the console. Since we want to print hello world will be our message, and so we write it inside the println function using double quotes. There we go. We have our first Kotlin program. Now to compile this program, we simply open our command prompt. First, we use cd, that is change directory command, to navigate to the folder where the app.kt file is located. Then to compile the program, you enter the following command. Then we now use the Kotlin compiler to compile the app.kt file. In my case, I have the Kotlin compiler located at this directory. So this is the path to the Kotlin compiler, while app.kt is the file you want to compile. So I'll just press enter to run the command. After running the compile command, a file named appkt.class will appear in the Kotlin directory. as you can see here. So this is the compiled bytecode for the Java virtual machine, the JVM. Now let's launch the app using the second utility. We will use the Kotlin interpreter to run the compiled bytecode. In my case, I have the interpreter located at this path. So this is the path to the interpreter, and appkt is the name of the compiled class file without the .class extension. So you press enter, and there you have it, our output message to the console, hello world. Although we can compile applications in Kotlin in the console, however, as a rule, a program such as IntelliJ IDEA is used for development in Kotlin, like I mentioned earlier. This is a development environment, or rather IDE from JetBrains, which greatly simplifies the development process. An IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, and it is simply a software that combines commonly used developer tools into a compact graphical user interface application. It is a combination of tools like a code editor, code compiler, and a code debugger with an integrated terminal. So you certainly do not need an IDE to code or develop applications. Even a simple text editor like Notepad can be used to write code, as I mentioned earlier. But IDEs offer some stunning features that go beyond ordinary editing. They provide frequently used developer tools all in one simple interface. One can directly get onto building their applications without going through the hardship of manually configuring and integrating the development environment like we were doing earlier on. So for the rest of this video, I will be showing you how to download and install IntelliJ IDEA. So to install IntelliJ IDEA, you just have to download the installation distribution from the official site. I will leave a link in the description. As you can see here, you can find packages for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux at this address. You can choose which one is suitable for you, but in my case, I am using Windows operating system. In addition, the environment itself is available in two versions. So the first is the ultimate version, which is the paid version, meaning that you have to pay for it for you to use it. But it also offers a free trial period of 30 days, but after 30 days you'll be required to make some payments. And then we have the community version, which is free of charge. So in this case, I will choose the free version of community. So before downloading, make sure your machine matches with the system requirements listed here. If all is well, then click on download and wait patiently for it to download. So after the download is complete, you just have to go to the source folder and double click on the downloaded file, and then a pop-up window will appear that will be asking you if you want to make any changes to the device. So you just have to click yes and then click on next, and then a default path where the program file will be installed is shown here, but if you want to make any changes you can change, but in my case I will leave it at the default. Then click on next, then over here you tick this box to create a desktop shortcut, then click next, and then IntelliJ IDEA is gonna be installed on your device. You just have to be patient and wait for it to install. So after installation, you have to launch IntelliJ IDEA by just double clicking on the icon in the desktop. Then create the first project. So to do this, select new project on the start screen as shown here, and then the new project creation window will appear and open up. In the name field, enter the project name. Let the project name in this case be called Hello, since we'll try to create the Hello World common first program. In the location field, you can specify the project path if you are not satisfied with the default path. Since we will be working with a Kotlin language, we will select Kotlin as our language in the language field, and then you can also specify the path to the Java SDK to be used in the project in the JDK field. So as a rule, this field by default already contains the path to the JDK that is installed on the local computer. If this field is empty, then it must be set. So you just have to download the JDK package. And also you remove the check mark in the add sample code field to avoid adding a file with a default code to the project. We want a blank page, not an already made up sample code. So after that, click on the create button. After that, the environment will create and open the project. So on the left side of our project, you'll see this project structure where all source code files are placed in the src folder, which is the source folder where our source code will be. So by default it is empty and we don't have any code files in the project yet, so we'll add a file with a source code. To do this, you right click on the src folder and select new, and then select class or file in the context menu. After that, we will open a small window in which you need to enter the file name. So let the file be code app. After pressing enter, a new file with the Kotlin code will be added to the source folder. In the case above, app.kt file has been added, and in the central part its contents will open, then the source code itself. By default it is empty, so let's add some primitive code. So we'll add the same code that we wrote in our previous example. So we have fun, main, println, hello world. So let's run this primitive code for execution. To do this, you click on the Kotlin icon next to the first line of code, or on the file name, and select run app.kt in the menu that appears. So after that, the project will be built and the compiled program will be launched in the console in IntelliJ IDEA, and hello world will be printed on the console of the IntelliJ IDEA. So we have come to the end of this video lesson. In our next video, we will learn about variables and constants as well as comments.